Welcome to Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. Each week, the NI Bullpen will be covering the world of comics, talking to creators, deep diving into some fantastic stories, and much more. Now let's hand it over to the team and turn a page.
Welcome to a very special edition of Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. My name is Ken M. You know me as the host of the ODPH podcast. I'm also Nerd Initiative editor-in-chief. To my left, he does his own intro. It's in his contract.
Coming at you live and direct straight from the ODPH studios. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. Ken, Rich, everybody else, always a pleasure.
And joining us, the third member of our panel, you know him from NI Wrestling, but he is one of our comic reviewers extraordinaire. Please give a warm welcome to Rich.
I'm very happy to be here. It's an awesome day, and I can't wait to talk about this book.
Oh, absolutely, because when we say special edition, we mean it, and when Skybound Entertainment drops a #1 on you, it's going to be the talk of the comic shops, and this book is, oh my God, there is a lot going on with it. Probably the easiest comparison I can give for it is monsters, big guns, and badassery. Oh my, because the new hit that is dropping in the stores May 7th is Blood and Thunder, and we are very fortunate enough to have the creative team on the line with us. So please give a warm welcome to the writer Benito Cereno, EJ Stu, and the one and only Robert Kirkman. Guys, what's going on?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So much energy from us. We're having a great time.
We couldn't match that intro's energy. Just so we can't do it.
That's all Rich. All right.
Yeah,
We're all very happy to be here.
Well, you know, we're very happy to talk about this book. So why don't we get it started with, how did this whole idea come to be?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that Benito and I had kind of kicked around in the early 2000s. Actually around like a little bit after when Invincible and Walking Dead were starting. We kind of, worked on it a little bit. There was a script that was done. It kind of fell by the wayside when I got sidetracked with the Walking Dead TV show and all kinds of crazy stuff started happening. But it was something that I always loved. And then at some point along the way, I came across like a Jack Kirby quote that included the words blood and thunder. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest title I've ever heard. Like there should be a book called Blood and Thunder. And then I was like, oh yeah, that space police thing that Benito and I were doing, that would work well. So I started talking to Benito about retooling that idea into Blood and Thunder. And then around the same time, EJ Sue had come to me and was like, hey, I'm looking to do more comic work. He had been, doing some design work and some things outside of comics and wanted to kind of come back in. EJ and I had done Tech Jacket together in the early 2000s. And, he had worked with me on Battle Pope and some other projects. And so we went way back, and I thought it would be really great to pull the three of us together and create this really awesome science fiction series.
Oh, absolutely. And definitely when fans read this, they're going to be blown away by this.
Absolutely. And Ken, you had mentioned the best place to call it is space, monsters, badassery. I think that really works a bit, but
there's not enough great adjectives to describe this book, in all honesty,
that we can say online.
But, yes. But I would love to hear what the elevator pitch from the creators is. So what is your elevator pitch for Blood and Thunder?
I like to say, I'm going to let Benito talk in a second, but I like to say it is a buddy cop story where one of the buddy cops is a talking gun.
Yeah, and that's definitely the starting place, right? So it's you've got a alien bounty hunter, sentient talking gun, sent on the mission of trying to track down the most dangerous criminal in the galaxy. And it's planet hopping from there, where each new scenario brings them new dangerous environments, new kinds of violence, new perspectives on life, etc. So that's kind of the vibe, a big kind of planet hopping, epic buddy cop chase drama satire.
So EJ, when these two brought this idea to you, since you have done so much design work and everything, what was your initial reactions to this?
I think when I first heard about it, a bounty hunter with talking gun. I'm sold. Later on, I found out that we going from world to different world and more different worlds, and it's like for an artist you can ask for more. You know, it's like a kid went into a candy store and you get to pick anything you want. So for me, it's a great opportunity to flex my artistic creative muscle, and you know I love every minute of it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and especially to having such a wide landscape to do it on, it really kind of lets you have a lot of creative freedom. And this one will be for Robert and Benito. When you're dealing with sci-fi storytelling in this day and age, what is the biggest challenges for you creating a story like this?
I'll go. Yeah. For me, you know, my experiences with writing science fiction are largely what you would call very soft science fiction. People who've read any of my other stuff, Tales from the Bully Pulpit, very silly, kind of steampunky, retro, kind of H.G. Wells kind of sci-fi, and that's the kind of stuff I tend to write. But for something like this, where I wanted it to feel more modern and new, a little darker, little I don't want to, I hate saying darker and edgier, but that's also true. It's definitely darker and edgier than Tales from the Bully Pulpit. But to try and do that, I had to look at how can I make a genre like this, you know, a slightly harder sci-fi. How do I make something like that work with my own skill set? And so the biggest challenge for me was trying to figure out how to apply my own voice and my own perspectives onto a genre like that. Because I do like science fiction, but I have a very particular brand or taste in it, and I was trying to bring something new and different to my approach for this book.
And then Robert, for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that science fiction is a somewhat crowded space these days. I think that I mean, with me doing Void Rivals and Battle Beast is, you know, somewhat science fiction adjacent. You just need to make sure that, you know, something like this kind of finds its own lane. And I think that Benito has been able to kind of spin this into something that you know, speaks to people on a different level. It's got a lot of great social commentary in it. You know, there's a really, you know, there's some really cool science fiction elements that are coming up in the series that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I think that one of the things that's most exciting about this series is that it is an evolving series that, you know, as you go from issue to issue, as EJ was saying, we're going to different planet and seeing different alien worlds and different things like that. The series is going to evolve with those different locations to the point where, you know, if you're looking at you know, issue 6, issue 7, without getting those connective issues between issue 1, you know, you might not think it's the same series. It's a book that's really going to go into some really unexpected places, and I think that's going to make it stand apart from anything else that's out there.
So with all of these big ideas that's going on in this wide open world, which is really awesome, this can actually go for writing and art. Has there been any ideas that you had to pull back on, or has it just been like full speed ahead? And as we heard EJ say earlier, it's just like being a kid in a candy store and just like, let's just do it all.
Well, I will say for the most part, the weirder the thing was that I thought of, the more likely I was to put in. Although I do know Robert has a line on how silly I can get with stuff, but there were definitely things where it was like ideas would come up and I would take them as a challenge. Like at one point, EJ said something about like, oh, you won't believe it, there was this comic with a pregnant robot, and I was like, oh, pregnant robot, you say? But the one, I'll tell you, the one idea that I had that I was going to try to integrate so that EJ could draw it, and then I was like, better not. And I didn't even tell Robert that he's hearing about this for the first time. It was going to be about.
I'm going to hate this.
It's going to be little aliens that look like dogs, and they pilot Gundam suits, and that was little dogs flying Gundams, because I wanted EJ to draw that, but I did pull back on that, and so that does not appear in the series, unfortunately. I hate to say it.
Or Shiba Inus.
I don't. It was the inspiration came from a sketch EJ had actually done. I don't remember what kind of dog you actually drew. Do you remember the drawing I'm talking about, EJ?
Yeah, Chihuahuas.
Oh, never mind.
I gotta be honest with you, Benito. I'm angry that we didn't do this.
Oh, well, okay. All right. No. So you just got to approve some more issues, and then we'll see.
All right. Gauntlet thrown.
So, like you said, EJ, you're really stretching your artistic muscles. How hard has it been for you to develop each individual world so they have their own voice? And also, Benito, writing to those characters on those worlds.
Why don't you go first, TJ?
Um, oh, when we go from different world to different worlds, there I have to consider how the building, the architecture is different from one planet to the next. How the atmosphere is different, the landscape is different. How the creatures on that planet would develop differently. So, it just I can't say enough about creative muscles, and it's just a lot of fun just coming up with different ideas and different creatures and different environments, and how to make everything look like they belong in the same galaxy. And I just enjoyed the hell out of it.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. I mean, so much of my motivation while writing was to try and come up with what would be the most fun thing for EJ to draw. What would be the coolest thing to see? And so, as we're moving from environment to environment, I was also trying to think specifically in terms of contrast. How can I make this setting more different than the previous one, while at the same time looking at how those physical changes reflect the societal differences from planet to planet. And so we might have one planet and it's got where it's nighttime most of the time, right? It's got a very dark edge to it. And then we move on to another one where it's brightly colored. And so EJ is able to kind of flip from this very almost like a metal etching and engraving kind of style on one set of issues, and then he's able to do a much more open kind of clear line style to reflect the kind of bright and clean nature of this one planet and so on. And so it's definitely it's about looking at the relationships, because ultimately it's a series about humans and alien societies and how those interact. And so we use each planet as well to look at those from a different angle. And so the environment also is meant to kind of reflect the stages of that relationship and so on. And so it's a combination of visually how do we want this to look, but also how does it apply to the overall development of theme and so on.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, there's just definitely with all the characters. I mean, just with issue one alone, there's a lot to really digest. And the fact that this is now expanding to multiple worlds, we're going ongoing series with this, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yes. And
So-
and
I
we have
will say we have been working on this series behind the scenes for a very long time, and there are more than 15 issues drawn.
Oh wow,
yeah
that's awesome to hear. Because especially with the world building in this, and right now it seems like the perfect time for sci-fi to come back with just how the comic market is, because we really don't have anything really drawing fans out there. Maybe, with the exception of a few books. But I would say, would you feel that this is like the perfect time for this book to come out now?
I mean, I think so. I think that I don't know. It's a really exciting time for comics. There's a lot of big, loud projects that are coming out between Hush 2 and the relaunch of Spider-Man. This pesky Battle Beast series. There's a lot of cool stuff that I think are getting a lot of attention. And yeah, and I think that there has been a number of sci-fi projects in the market. But I think that more than anything, that's kind of primed the audience to be excited about this kind of stuff. I think that this industry has been so dominated by superheroes for so long that it's cool seeing science fiction and horror really kind of take off. And if you are paying attention to the industry, there's a tremendous amount of horror books and a tremendous amount of sci-fi books that are now kind of, in tandem with superhero books, like sort of changing the landscape of what mainstream American comics are.
and somehow James Tynion is writing all of them.
Yeah.
Well, as somebody who enjoys all of these books, this kind of books, this is right up my alley, so I love it. But I will say this: we talked already. There's a lot of streams across here. Obviously, this is a sci-fi book, but we have buddy cop stuff going into it. While you were writing or creating the book in general, what were like your biggest influences to look at for this? Like, what were you looking at some like obviously like some Star Wars stuff or like some really lethal weapon or something like that going into it?
Oh man. So there's well a lot of things, and like I said, this book, and like we've been saying, the book is going to go places. So I'm not going to reveal all the influences, but certainly for the beginning stuff, Blade Runner was a big part. Um, as I've said, elements of Futurama as well in terms of like the look of a future society where human and aliens interacting. Video games were a big part, especially in terms of like the gun mechanics. I was looking a lot at games like Prey. I don't know if you know that
Okay.
game from however many years ago that was. Certainly the idea of a gun that can shoot different types of things based on a matter recycler and that kind of stuff, drawing some inspiration from that. So yeah, for from the early stuff, also The Prisoner, the Patrick McGowan series is a big influence over the entire certainly the first 12 issues is a big one.
Now, since we are talking about the gun, we got to talk about Thunder. Okay, we just got to talk about him. There's a very symbiotic relationship, between Blood and Thunder. What was your inspiration for doing these type of weapons with characters, and which one has been your favorite to write and draw so far?
Ooh. I will
you.
say
Good job.
the idea of thunder as like a talking sentient weapon, that was Robert's idea from like the inception. That was like one of the very basics of the concept. Space police officer with a talking gun, a buddy cop kind of book like that. And so from there, I just like, well, contrasting personalities. And also it seemed to me, I was like, maybe the most interesting angle I could take is it's a gun who doesn't like being a gun, basically, doesn't like being a weapon of war and of death, and how that influences his outlook and his personality. So it's like it's a talking gun, but he has depression. I think in the initial draft, he was even more like blatantly suicidal, and that kind of got written out a little bit as I worked on it. But yeah, his personality. I don't know. It made sense to me in the development of the book because it's just like he doesn't he feels trapped in a kind of lifestyle that he wishes he didn't have to
So
be in.
are we going to get like the Danny Glover? I'm getting too old for this stuff.
uh, after a fashion, there's some of that, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the initial concept to me, I mean, I'm always like the thing that's most important for me is character investment, like what makes you like these characters and how loving the characters and adoring the characters kind of pushes the narrative along. And so the challenge to Benito when we were starting this was how do you make people care about a gun? As if it was a character as important to the story as any other character. And I'm very happy that, he really was able to pull it off. There's some really cool stuff planned.
Yeah. And just like I say, after reading issue 1, I can't wait to see where this story goes. So one thing with this, obviously, is the connection between Blood and Thunder. So for each of you, what has been your favorite character and weapon combination, like Blood and Thunder?
Oh, you mean across pop culture or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, character and character and weapon. Oh, these questions where you have to think. So,
Well, what do you guys?
All right. Okay. I will say I'm a fan, particularly of guys who have swords that have names, especially if they have magic powers as well. Obviously, you got Arthur Excalibur. I'm gonna go with Charlemagne, obviously a historical figure, but also a legendary figure as well, and his sword, Joyeuse, which is also a real sword that you can visit in a museum, but also has magic powers, which is exactly my sweet spot. It's real, but also it's fictional. It's both. So I'm going to go with that. Charlemagne, Joyeuse. That's my guy. That's my weapon right there.
All right.
I mean, I'll go with a fairly obscure one since you put me on the spot, and probably not a great answer, I will say off the jump. But that recent Luc Besson movie, Valerian, the main character played by Dane DeHaan it's in the trailer and it's in the movie. The movie I enjoy immensely, but did not do well. But he's got there's a scene where he only uses it one time in the movie, but he's shooting platforms out of a gun while he is running on the platforms to get away from something. And I saw that and was like, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. And I thought for sure that it would just get lifted and it would show up in 100 different movies over the next like 5 years, and it never did. So at some point I'll do something where someone is shooting a gun that is making platforms and someone is running along the platforms. It's like the coolest aspects of Super Mario Brothers, like in an action movie. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine seeing Tom Cruise do that in a movie? How excited it would be, or how excited you would be. That was something that was really cool to me. So so that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, EJ.
Um, that's a very good question. I'm a big fan of Osamu Tezuka when I was growing up. So the first thing I can think of symbiotic relationship with the weapon is I don't know if you know about this series called Dororo. It's where a kid who was born without limbs, and his parents retrofitted like weapons around his arm and legs, and so when he fights demon, he will pull off his arm. It's a samurai sword.
Oh wow.
Things like that. I feel like Blood and Thunder is they're like one. They're they look out for each other, and it's sort of like that character from Tezuka.
No, definitely. And by the time everybody's done reading Blood and Thunder #1, they're going to be saying that's going to be their favorite pair, guaranteed. This book is a can't miss on May 7th. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us about this. We definitely have to talk as the series goes on.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you.
And we'll end it like we always do. When you're at the comic shops on May 7th and you have a great issue in your hands, such as Blood and Thunder #1 by Skybound Entertainment and Image Comics, and you see somebody struggling to find something, hand them a copy and tell them to turn a page. We'll see you next time.